becomes our prayer. And so, my dear ones, welcome into the sanctuary on this great and wonderful, beautiful day. How wonderful it is to be blessed, to be here with each other, and to know how blessed we are. Recently, in a conference, it was stated that 90% of the people in the world have no idea of the life that we are living. Don't know what that's like at all. And we're part of the 10% that are so privileged and so pampered and so provided for and live so very, very, very well. And most of us don't even know it. 90% of the world would be absolutely, gloriously anointed if they thought they could be living like you and I. So that's the first way we always start out in the beginning of anything, and especially in the beginning of a day, with gratitude and the realization, I am so blessed. I am so very blessed. I'm so awesomely blessed. It's unbelievable. And now I'm allowing myself to know it and get over myself as I do. And so, my dear ones, today we are looking at a continuation of watching the value system that we are all working along with. And in all of our centers, in our centers for spiritual living, they're looking this month at values and what they are to us. And today's value that we're looking at is the value of energy. And I keep wanting us to be aware of energy. It's so important because that's what we are. We are a vortex, each one of us, of energy. And it can be a depleted one or it can be a very expanded one. And the energy, of course, the ultimate energy is the energy of love. It's always about love. It's always about love, but love unconditioned and unconditional. And you and I are always endeavoring to become more and more unconditional in the way we are in love. And so looking at our values, we have to find out what do we truly value. Well, one of our essential values, I would imagine, because we're all in this room, would be the value of finding out what the criteria of living a conscious, connected, present life is. What is the criteria for that? And so it came to a man one day that was the question that arose in his mind. And as that question arose in his mind, he was sitting overlooking on a high bluff, overlooking the sea, the distance, watching the people that were coming and going to take the various and sundry woodland walks in the wood that was behind him. And that came to him. And then what came to him on top of that was, well, you're always wondering how you get there. And how you get there is to begin now. Start that path now into that realization. Start the path now. And he's grinning and he's thinking, I'm sitting here overlooking the sea and I just came to just sit down and contemplate for a minute. I had no intention of going on any path, woodland walk or any of that. But anyway, he got it and he realized, I'll get up and I'll do it. So he did. He got up and he turned around and he decided he was going to take one of the woodland paths and see where that would lead him, because the contemplation that was brewing up in him was causing all of this to happen. So he gets up and he goes and he takes a path that's not too well traveled, but not by too many people. And this is a beautiful wood, and the pathways are wide, and there's lots of light, and you can see the sky, and it's just a gorgeous thing, and the fragrances and the buzzing of the bees and the fluttering of the butterflies and all of that's going along. So there's much to absorb one as you walk along a woodland path when you're being present. And he knows the call is to be consciously engaged and present. And he's trying to find the way of being able to do that, and if there's any wisdom to be had. So he walks along, and as he does, he's decided, okay, this beginning now, I suppose this is the only place you can begin is now, and just begin. Regardless of how you are, regardless of what's going on, whether you have one wheel on your wagon or four wheels and a spare, it doesn't matter, just begin where you are. That's all. So he's going along, and then he comes to a little opening on the right side, and there's a big placard, and it says, remember, the universe rests on the shoulders of love. And he's going, oh, that's deep. That's neat. What a nice message. And he continues on, he's thinking about it. And as he gets in a bit, a young woman passes him by, and they nod at each other and smile, and she says, "Remember, the shoulders that love rests upon, the universe rests upon, are the shoulders that you are carrying. Love rests on your shoulders." And he's going, "Huh?" She's gone. And he's going on, he's pondering that, and he's thinking, "Oh my gosh, that's really deep. I don't know. I'll think about that one later." And so he's meandering along, and he's just open, and he's taking it all in, and he's not trying to think about anything or anything. He's just following the instinct to walk along a path. And so on he goes, and then he's passed by another a gentleman, and the gentleman passes him by, and he says, they nod and smile, and the gentleman says, "Remember, no two things are alike." And he's thinking, what's going on here? Who are these people? I mean, they should have backpacks and sandwiches and a cane or something, but I don't know where they're coming from. Who are these people? All right, no two things are alike. And as he goes further, on a little placard high above a tree, big enough for him to read, it says, "No two leaves are alike, no two trees are alike, no two stones are alike, no two flowers are alike, no two human beings are alike, no two sets of thumbprints are alike." And he's saying, all right, I get it. And so what's coming through him is, do you really get it though? Are you realizing that you are a unique, one-of-a-kind, original aspect of life, the life that lives you, and there's none other like you anywhere to be found? So don't keep trying to imitate something or someone else. You can't. It's impossible. You are one of a kind. Understand how neat that is, and be happy to be the one of a kind that you are, and allow it to grow and develop you. So I said, oh, okay, this is a different kind of walk. So on he goes, and then he sees a little parchment on the ground, and he picks it up, and he says, I wonder what this is. And it says here, live from the center, live from the center, live from the center. And then in his mind he hears something, it's like a cricket. It says, the center of your being. Live from the center of your being. Okay. So he ponders that as he walks along. I want this. I wonder if this is all the criteria stuff I've been looking for. Live from the center of your being. Okay, what does that mean? All right. Looks up into the sky, and written in the clouds it says, from the sacred person at the center of your being, the sacred personhood at the center of your being, live from that. Identify with that and live from that. P.S. It's huge. So on he goes. Okay, all right. Be careful what you ask for, because you'll get it, he's thinking. So he's taking it all in, and he's one with it all, and he's noticing that no two leaves and no two flowers and no two trees are alike. He's getting that. He's going along, and it's a lot to take in, because this is a lot of invitation for him to be pondering and so on. So then he comes to a little opening, and there are some people in a grove, and they're sitting down, and they're having a little kind of a break and a sandwich, and they have flasks and so on. And he nods at them, waves at them, he keeps going, and then as he's going back into a more enclosed area, a child comes running up and says to him, lead by example, and runs off giggling. He's looking at the kid as the kid goes, and he's thinking, all right, I don't know what that was about, lead by example. And then it comes to him, lead by example. Okay, I remember that class I took, and I remember what the book said. It said, all right, be the doing, not the talking about what you must do. Be the living out of the concept, not the retelling of the concept to your friends and those you meet because it's a neat concept. Simply be more and focus on doing less. He says, oh my God, how long more do I have to go, and how long more am I going to have to think about big, important things? And so off he goes and lead from the sounds. And then he comes to a little space, and it's very nice because it has a lovely little seat, and you can sit on it, kind of a little wooden made-up thing. And he goes over and he sits on it, and it's kind of in a little ring of, little bushes and shrubs and flowers, and nice stones here and there that kind of caught his attention, and he's looking at the stones and so on. As he is, this time he hears from within himself. Never fear to be yourself. Never fear to be yourself. And then he remembers another class, and it was a Troward class. And he remembered a line from the book. Can't remember which book it was, but it was one of his books. They're all difficult. In his mind, he was saying, but I don't agree with that. Anyway, it said, be yourself. More of yourself, and even more of yourself. And then he put it together, and he thought, oh yeah, and then there was that class with Emerson, and Emerson was saying, insist upon yourself. And he said, I remember the first time I heard that, I thought it was great. Insist upon yourself. It's okay to have your own way and insist upon getting it. And then in the class it came to be clear, no, that's not what he was talking about. He was talking about your deep self, your great self, your whole self, your God self, your divine self, the true self. And he said that became a whole different challenge. And he was thinking, my gosh, oh golly gee, I've been walking this path, and all I'm doing is not getting anything from it. I'm being reminded of what I already know. Already know. I know that the real value of me being in existence and being here and now is to wake up and remember my uniqueness, my oneness with all that is in a very unique and individualized way. And I don't have to be anything or anyone else. I can just be me, and the me that I am, I have completely forgotten about. I have been identifying all the time with values that have nothing to do with the true and real value of who and what I am, and the true and real value of what it is to be alive, and the true and real value of life itself. I have forgotten all of that. I've been associating my values with things, persons, places, and things apart from myself. And I've been looking to persons, places, and things to get a sense of my own value. And now I understand why that has never happened, because I can't get it from persons, places, and things. I have to get it from just remembering the true, real essence and truth of my being. And that's the first thing, the first criterion for me to live a conscious, present, and connected life. To wake up and remember who I am and what I am, and of whence I came, and how I came to be. I am life's longing to know itself as a total, whole, perfect expression of all of life. I'm the result. I'm here because of life's longing to know itself uniquely as me. Well, who knew? Now, that doesn't add up with all of my goings-on in life and living and all of my mistakes and all of my getting it wrong and all of my, forgetfulness and lack of focus and lack of true, amazing understanding and awareness of what's real and what's not real. My gosh, I've been living a life of ignorance, and in ignorance I have forgotten so much that I deeply know within myself I have always known somehow or another. But somehow or another, it's all a mush. And now, because I was in an open moment as I sat on that bench overlooking this vast cosmic sea, I was identifying with the sea, and I came to realize that I am the cosmic conscious sea waving. I'm not just a separate wave in the ocean. I am the sea waving. There's no this and that and the other in the sea. It's all one thing. And I am that sea waving, cresting, rushing toward the shore, filled with all kinds of wonderful good to deposit. That's what I am. I'm not a body. I'm not held in and kept down by a material form. I can leave this form at any time, and I do, and I come and I go all the time from this station. But I didn't know it. And every time I meditate, and every time I go quiet, and every time I'm still, and every time I'm singularly focused, and I can be singularly focused on one present thing, the truth itself, I'm not this anymore. I've left the premises, and I am totally unlimited, and every good thing is a possibility for me to realize. And the beauty of it is there's nothing for me to do. I don't have to do a darn thing. I'm not called to do anything. I'm simply called into being. To be this full open potential ready to have imprinted upon itself one thing and one thing alone. Life is love, life is good, life is for living, and get with the livingness of it. And stop being so stingy and limited and narrow-minded in your way of thinking and in your way of doing and going about the business of life. You are the full cosmic ocean rushing to the shores to deposit great deposits of good, and that good never runs out. Give it all away. Release it. Let it go. Let it not bind you to stuff and things and achievements and accomplishments and all of the nonsense on the three-dimensional planet Earth, the planet of illusion. And some of those illusions are beauteous and wondrous and gorgeous. But do not be fooled. Do not be fooled. There are so many other experiences to be had. In my Father's house, in the house of true consciousness, there are many mansions, many levels of expression, and you have access to every single one of them. You're not stuck in the basement, no matter how beautifully it has been rearranged and decorated. You're not confined to the basement of life and living. The penthouse awaits you and beyond. Get up out of the basement and walk up the stairs, for God's sakes. Enjoy all the levels that are available. So this week, what you and I are called to is to examine our values, but our value more than anything else. And your value is priceless. And we're asked as we go through the week to ask ourselves, do people in my presence and in my company for any length of time know what I value? And do those things that I value enhance and enrich and expand and uplift? Do they do no harm? So that's what we're asked to contemplate this week, and what we're asked to look at is what and how we value in and about ourselves, and to honor it, and to come into agreement with it, and then to live it. So we're asked as we go through our week to be the living, loving kindness of life itself, to be its generosity in givingness, to be its poise and its peace and its presence and its life and its light and its love wherever, with whomever, however we are. That's what's asked of us. And we are asked because we're equal to the response. And it is asked of us because we are equal to its expression, exactly as we are, however mucked up our life seems to be right now. The mucked up stuff is not going to last because it's not permanent. It has no substance to it. It is not part of the truth of being. Therefore, its platform cannot stand. So rise up, everybody. I know it's picnic day. I know the games are calling. Rise up out of the terrible inertia and rise up out of all of the rotten decisions we've made about our lives and living, and decide to hang up your judge's robe, come down off the judge's bench in your own regard and everybody else's too, and hang up your hat to being part of the jury as well. And just let life live itself as itself by means of you, because we can. And so it is.